Hi everybody, good morning. Today is Tuesday and I've got a few messages for you and then an activity we're going to try. So for message one, yesterday in Miss Laura's video she showed you how to do another ice experiment. She called it painting ice with colored salt. So she had made her own colored salt in a bag by putting a few drops of food coloring in it and then mixing it all around. And then she had this big tray of ice and she used a spoon to sprinkle the salt onto the ice, and then we watched to see what happened. And there were colors mixing together, and I was noticing that some of the ice was starting to melt because under the ice there were like puddles of colored water that looked really cool. So it looked like a really interesting experiment, and I really hope you get a chance to try it and make your own salt and sprinkle it on the ice and see what happens. It looked like a lot of fun. For message two, I wanted to give you some facts about painted turtles. So you might remember that by my apartment I have that big pond, and sometimes in the morning when the sun is really shining down, I can see turtles that have climbed up onto the side of the pond, like up on the grass, and they're just sitting there. And I think they're trying to get warm by the sun, and they're a special kind of turtle. They're called a painted turtle. So I tried to draw a picture of one here, and I think they're called painted turtles because of all the colors they have. So they have some really cool green and yellow colors like on their necks and heads, and sometimes down onto their arms and legs. And then their shell, the top of it is mostly black, but it has some red underneath it too. So they have a lot of colors on these turtles, and that's why they're called painted turtles. And those are one of the most common turtles found in Michigan, actually, so in our state. But some things about turtles that I found out is that turtles swim underwater. So you might remember I have a tortoise, actually. Here he is. So I have Mudge the tortoise. He does not swim underwater, right? Because he's a land tortoise. But turtles, like the painted turtle, they do swim underwater. And they like to be in ponds or lakes. So not like the big ocean, or not huge, big areas of water, but smaller pieces of water, like the pond that I have by my apartment. I also found out that turtles don't have teeth. So I wrote no teeth. Not like people, but they do have on their top jaw and lower jaw something called serrated areas. So that means that instead of teeth, they just kind of have like tiny little sharp edges that help them when they're eating things like plants and small fish, because that's what they like to eat. So Mudge, even though he's not a turtle, he's a tortoise, he also doesn't have teeth, but he has on his mouth like a little bottom jaw, and I call it his beak because it looks like a bird beak, and it can be a little sharp, but that helps him bite and tear pieces of like his lettuce or spinach away, and that helps him eat. So turtles are kind of like that too. No teeth, but special pieces on their jaws that help them when they need help. Yeah, so those are some facts about painted turtles that I thought were pretty cool. For message three, I want to show you how to try something new at home, and I'm calling it layered drawing. So a drawing that has layers to it. So what you'll need is some paper, and I drew 3 pieces of paper. You can choose how many you need, but you need more than one. So it can be 2 or 3 or 4. And then you'll need something to color with. Today I have colored pencils, or I can show you. So I just have like a few small half pieces of paper. That's what I'm going to use today. And then colored pencils. And then you'll need a flashlight. So I have my flashlight here. So I'll go ahead and move this out of the way really quick. So for this drawing, it's going to be called a layered drawing because what we're going to do is on one paper make a drawing, and then on another paper make another drawing, but not in the same place. And then we're going to put the 2 papers together like this to make layers of paper, and then you're going to use the flashlight and shine it through the paper, and it's going to be kind of magical, and we'll see what happens when we do that, okay? So for my layer drawing, I actually already made my first drawing. I drew another little painted turtle, and see how I kind of put him at the bottom? So on my next paper, I'm going to add something to the drawing on here, but not in the same place as the turtle. It's going to be somewhere else. So I think because this is a turtle and it swims underwater, I think on this paper, I'm going to draw some water for it to be in. So maybe I'll have my drawings next to each other so I can kind of see if I'm going to be in the right spot. Yeah, that looks about right. Draw some water. And you can ask your family or friends to do this with you. And I need to keep an eye on the tortoise too. If he walks too far away, he'll walk right off the table. So now I have my turtle drawing in some water, but see how they're not in the same place on the paper? Because when we layer them together, we don't want them to be on top of each other, or we don't want them to be like smooshed together. So I have more papers. Maybe it's a sunny day at this turtle's pond. So maybe on this paper, I'm gonna add a sunshine, but it's not gonna be in the same place as the turtle, and it's not gonna be in the same place as the water. Come back much? So I'm gonna use yellow for the sun. Make a circle with some lines coming off it. Okay, so now here's my sun, and see how it's at the top of the paper? So it's not in the same place as the turtle, and it's not in the same place as the water. And let's see, I have one more paper. Maybe, you know what? Turtles eat fish, right? So maybe I'm gonna add some little fish to the very bottom and pretend they're like swimming under the turtle. And we'll see if that works. And I'm deciding to use pencils, but you might try markers or crayons. I don't know if there's one that will work better than colored pencils when we're doing this. Okay, so I added some fish to the very bottom of this paper. So now I have 4 papers with different drawings, and we're gonna try to squish them all together into one drawing. So I'm gonna pick up one, put one behind it, put one behind that, and put the last one behind that. So now I have all my drawings squished together. And when I'm holding it up like this, you can see my drawing on this paper, but you can't really see the other things that I drew, right? So now we need the flashlight. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to shine it through the back. So here's the sun. Oh, now we can start to see the water there. Hey, there's the turtle. Oh, and there's the fish that it can eat down at the bottom. So it's, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of magic, that, because now you can only see the sun, but when I start to shine the light in different places behind the drawing, you can magically see the other stuff that I drew. So yeah, it might be easier if you use markers, maybe you'll be able to see it better, I don't know. Or if you make your room a little darker, that might help with the flashlight a little bit too. But yeah, so now you can see why when you're drawing on the different papers, you don't want to draw all in the same spot, because otherwise it would be like if I drew my sun and my turtle on the same spot on 2 different papers, well then they would be on top of each other like that. And that would look a little silly. But yeah, you could play this game with your family or with your friends. You could give everybody a paper, and you can say, okay, Mom, you draw something up here. And then you could say, okay, Dad, here's your paper. You draw something down here. And then you can say, here, little sister, you draw something in the middle. And then maybe you draw something in one of the other corners. And then all together you squish them and do the flashlight on it, and you can see everybody's drawings together in one piece of art. So I hope you get a chance to try it. I really like doing that. I think it's really cool, and the flashlight shows all the hiding drawings behind the other layers. And yeah, maybe markers will work better, or crayons. You can experiment and try it. So that's all we have for you today. Miss Laura will be back with another video tomorrow, and I will see you again on Thursday. All right? Bye, everybody.